Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, was told by America's president that safe passage for him, his son, and his wife would only be guaranteed if he resigned quickly. China has given several polite warnings to the United States, but they are pretty much sitting this one out, just like Russia. In fact, Russia, which is Venezuela's #1 financial, diplomatic, and military backer, has started evacuating droves of its Russian citizens from the country. Right now, between 20 to 25% of the entire U.S. naval fleet is operating in the Caribbean. They have at least 10,000 soldiers there, 1 aircraft carrier, 5 destroyers, nuclear submarines, a bunch of littoral combat ships. And I still stand by my initial claim back in August when I said the United States isn't going to actually invade Venezuela and put boots on the ground. But I do think that they will conduct air and missile strikes. And the reason why the United States won't have to put actual boots on the ground is the sheer fact that the vast majority of the population in Venezuela voted Maduro out, but he just seized the election. I'm betting right now that the current administration's goal is to strike key areas in Venezuela in which the people can properly revolt and take the government for themselves and put in whoever they want to rule. Most likely it's going to be Machado. And we should be asking, as what I mentioned in the beginning of this post, will Venezuela's president and his family be given safe passage to flee Venezuela once U.S. airstrikes commence, if they happen at all? But the question that's growing in my mind right now is, if the United States manages to pull off this coup, Maduro flees, Machado or whoever takes over, and there is no civil war in Venezuela, what will the United States do with Ukraine? Is the reason why the United States has pulled away a lot of its concern towards helping Ukraine because they wanted to solve their Venezuela problem and divert as many resources as they could to scare away Maduro? Because if the United States manages to set up an America-friendly and stable Venezuela, that means they have even more control over the world's oil supply. And don't forget, Venezuela has a huge wealth of both gold and rare earth minerals, which of course the United States would not say no to. It also means that the strongest and wealthiest anti-American stronghold in Latin America has been completely taken out. That's another huge bonus. But it also means that Russia no longer has any foothold in the Western Hemisphere. Same thing with China, because Venezuela, even though it is primarily Russia's baby, China wanted to grow its oil relationship even further with the country. And that will be maybe not scrapped. The U.S. may still push it, but it'll be under the U.S.'s terms, which will be much less generous for China. And I want to ask you guys a question. Which country is more important to the United States, or at least this administration, Ukraine or Venezuela? I'm starting to think it's Venezuela, and what if this administration, even when Russia first invaded Ukraine, what if they realized that Ukraine would be such a huge military drain on Russia that the United States would be able to do whatever it wanted to Venezuela with zero interference from Russia because Russia was so heavily occupied, losing the Ukraine conflict? Now, I made a whole playlist about my ideas about Venezuela since August of this year, and if you want to get better context on all of this, give it a watch. If this is your first time watching me, I am the Geo Hussar. I talk a lot about economics and geopolitics, and for my longtime viewers, for some reason, you may have accidentally unfollowed me because I've gotten a lot of DMs making that claim. So for everyone else, give me a follow, and thanks for watching.